Alright guys, I am going to do a review on the last Thrive cage that I have not yet reviewed. I've done all the other ones, the 18 by 18 by 24 rectangular cage, the half crescent disaster of a cage, the, it's hiding back here, but the one you've seen in my videos recently, this hexagon cage I've got sitting here, and now this corner cage is the last one that I have not yet reviewed. I'm gonna open it up, show it to you. This should be a fairly quick one because honestly, there's just not much to it. It's very similar to all the other cages I imagine, and it doesn't come with any accessories. It's just an empty cage, but nonetheless, I'm gonna show it to you, give you my impressions, and then talk about what I am gonna do with this here cage. I'm gonna open it up. One of the things that I'm curious about with this one that I think Thrive could probably do different with this cage to open up a different market for themselves. Not open a different market, but expand their potential market on this cage, would be to make them stackable. And I can see just from looking at it, it has basically the exact same type of top that the hexagon tank does. It has this black rim that sticks up about a ½ inch over this screen top. The same kind of screen mesh as all their other cages. Real sturdy, real nice. Better than the Exoterra in that fashion, but also a much thicker mesh that I wonder how well the UV light will get through there for plant growth and animal well-being. And then it does have their opening here, the full opening for their fogger, and then of course you can just have the slight opening for a power cord of some kind if you want to feed that through. Very similar to the hexagon cage. So the reason I mention that with stacking is I have learned you can stack the hexagon cages. I've tried stacking them up to 3 high, which brings them about head level, but the weight of the cages pushing down, if this were the door of the hexagon cage, the weight of 3 cages pushing down on it makes it hard to open and close the door. So I keep them stacked 2 high, and that's not too bad. I bought some little rubber feet that you would put under, like something you were going to put on a desk, you didn't want to scratch it, and you can get those little sticky rubber feet. I just put one of those on every corner, and it keeps the hexagon cages up a little bit. It gives them some grip so they don't slide. I've had no issues stacking those 2 high. The front opening door makes it so you don't need to take the top off. I wish you could stack them higher though, and I do think that is something that potentially they could invest in, because imagine how cool a corner of your room, this would fit nicely into the corner of your room, and if you could stack these 3 or even 4 high and go ceiling high and have like a stack of different geckos, like you could put something in there. I know it would be cool to see them put some sort of structure, like I imagine them building something very minimalistic, something metal, same color as this, and it's just a support structure with a small shelf, so you'd have room to slide a UV light in or a short heat lamp in, and then right here would be your next one, and you could just have that, not really like a shelving system, just a support system to be able to stack these 3 or 4 high. That would be super cool. So if anybody from Thrive's watching, you know, one of the dozens of people who watches my channel, it would be cool to see. I don't imagine that they are ever going to do that, but that is something I would like to see. But that aside, let's go ahead and open this guy up and have a look. I am going to remember to take the tape off and not have the fail issues I had on the other cage. If you guys remember that video, I tried to do this like dramatic door opening, and there was tape holding the door shut, so I took it off all embarrassed and said, and now I will open the door, and very anticlimactically had more tape on there I hadn't seen. But right away, I like the door. You guys remember my problem with the 18 by 18 by 24 is it had one swivel latch at the top here that the door was so big and the latch was so unsturdy that the bottom corner, an animal could actually push it out. You can kind of see a little on this one how I'm able to flex it. You could flex it wide enough that a whole snake could get out of that 18 by 18 by 24. And the latch being on the top meant the bottom part where your animal is more likely to be. It's got more leverage with the ground right here to push on that. It just did not seem comfortable. This latch, much more sturdy, really holds this door in place quite well. Got this little extra piece of plastic protector on here you gotta pull off. I wonder if that is supposed to stay to fill that. And that might actually be on purpose. I was thinking, I don't remember this. I'm looking at my hexagon cage. It's actually got a much smaller gap. This one has a bigger gap between the door and the glass panel here. And it comes with this installed on there. And I just assumed it was an extra piece for rigidity or safety during shipping. But I'm actually thinking that this is optionally, you keep it installed. And then when you close the door, if it's installed right, it actually fills that gap. That is kind of nifty. I do like that. So you guys remember on the, my screen died. Oops, that's okay. On the terrarium, the crescent fronted terrarium, I had the issue where there was a gap at the top and my morning geckos got out of there. This one, I think a morning gecko could get out of there. Certainly a young morning gecko could get out of there. There's definitely a gap big enough for a small lizard to get through there. Comes with this piece to fill that gap. I actually really like that. That's really intuitive. It's smart that they noticed that gap and they cared enough to give you a way to fill it. That is something that most reptile companies don't do. That is something that even Thrive does not do on their other cage. So it's cool to see they included that in there. I really thought that was just a throwaway piece, but now I am sure that it is not. Other than that, there is just not a whole lot to this cage. So there is not much to talk about here other than its appearance. Size-wise, it's a good size, lots of interior space. The thing that I like about this cage is the two big panels that fit in the corner. For one, being able to fit this nicely into a corner is so convenient. That'll save a lot of space in a lot of people's houses. Again, the downside to that, just like with the hexagon terrarium, is you really need a matching stand for it. I don't know if Thrive sells a stand. I want to say they do sell a stand that matches the corner terrarium, but not the hexagon one. Maybe it's vice versa. I don't remember. If you do know, comment down below so I know and other people can find out. But these cages, to me, are most useful if you have a matching stand. Because imagine this in your corner, it's safe spacing, it looks cool in the corner, but then you have to buy a big square table to put it on. Otherwise it sits on the floor in your living room. Like, that would be ridiculous. So to have a matching cabinet for this that would hold it another 2.5, 3 feet off the ground and put this at chest level, like where you would put a fish tank, and have this be a display piece in your house, would be awesome. If you had that counter that also had supports that came up and then would hold a second tank on top, that would be even cooler. I don't think we'll see that from Thrive. Hopefully we can find a base that will fit these. If I do find anything that fits, I will pin a comment down below and let you guys know. That is one of the reasons I like it, like I said. And the two big glass panels, like I was saying on the back, if you're gonna custom build this into a vivarium, imagine having this entire thing from this to that corner, this entire back area be custom background, plants falling down, cork bark sticking out. You could do a piece of cork bark that starts here, or a grapevine, and goes here and actually connects in the background on both sides and makes a bridge. There's all kinds of cool stuff you could do with this cage because of the way it's shaped and how big the back panels are. You're not gonna actually have much open glass like you do in a lot of other cages. Even in a big 18 by 18 by 24, it's got 4 clear sides and you only really build a background on one of them. This one, you're building a background on like 2/3 of the available glass space, which I really think is a positive. You get more space to do more background decorating, more security for your gecko, because the less glass they have, the less outside world gets in, and they just feel more secure and safe, and that's what reptiles like. I really am digging this cage. I love Thrive's hexagon cages. You guys know that by now. I've got 3 or 4 of them. I am digging this one a lot. I only have one of these so far. I am actually going to build this one out, and it is going to live right here where this hexagon one is. Once I get this built out into a fully bioactive custom vivarium, I've got some geckos in mind that I'm going to put in here, some really cool display animals, and they are going to be permanently here in my YouTube studio. So I'm excited to build this one out. I've got some cool ideas now that I'm looking at it about bridges that are going to go across, and just all kinds of fun stuff you could do with this. Such a cool cage, so versatile, maybe the most versatile in terms of building potential of all the Thrive cages. And again, for the price, you cannot beat the Thrive stuff. I know some people don't like it because it's a little bit cheap. Honestly, their cages aren't cheap. I know some of their products are cheap and not that great. Their cages are solid, especially this one and the Hexagon one. I highly recommend them. So there's a quick kind of overview and my basic thoughts just now opening this cage and getting a good look at it, kind of my idea and my plan for it. Maybe if I build one and I really like it, I'll build a second one down the road, because I'm really having fun building all these cages and it's just so cool to do. So those are my first thoughts right off the bat. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I am Brian with Altitude Exotics, altitudeexotics.com/AEGeckos on Facebook and Instagram. I appreciate it. I love you guys. Be kind, be safe, and I will see you soon.